Hey guys, it's Neon. Welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. We're going to talk about the animation industry in this video, and I'd like to say that we're not going to talk about Disney because I'm getting kind of tired of doing non-stop Disney videos, but the problem is Disney owns everything. They own practically everything at this point, and there's not any piece of pop culture that you can talk about without talking about Disney. So what we're going to talk about in this video is that how non-Disney animated movies are basically getting slaughtered at the box office at this point, that they're not performing as well as they used to, that Disney, between Disney and Pixar, and now Fox, that Disney is basically choking out all other animated feature films, and those that do come out that actually look really good, you know, aren't performing nearly as well as Disney films. And this includes Dreamworks. This includes, you know, some of the Leica animation that just gets slaughtered at the box office despite being critically acclaimed. And it really is a Disney world. I mean, Disney has always been at the forefront of animation, but it's become more and more apparent that these studios are going to have a very, very hard time competing directly with the Mouse House. Especially as they gobble up other studios. Again, they've gobbled up Fox. They canceled a bunch of Fox movies, but they've got access to all of their animated films as well. So this article is coming from Film School Rejects. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how Disney is pretty much dominating animation. But I also want to talk about follow up with the Top Draw situation. If you've been following the channel, you'll know that for the last couple of weeks, off and on, we've been talking about Top Draw. They're an outsourcing animation studio in the Philippines. They do a lot of production work for a lot of pretty high-profile animated shows on a lot of U.S. networks. We're talking, you know, Disney Television, we're talking Cartoon Network, and we're talking Netflix. Really, the straw that broke the camel's back for a lot of people has been Carmen, Sandiego, that one of the employees actually asked for more money and was fired because of it. Now, since we did a video, a couple of videos actually on the situation with Carmen Sandiego, we've had several people who have either worked with or used to work with Top Draw come to us behind the scenes. I'm not going to say exactly what everybody said, because again, we like to protect our sources. We do have a lot of people come to us, but it's really been a mixed bag. We have some people who are Top Draw quasi defenders. We never had anybody come to us and say that Top Draw was good to work for. We had people come to us and say that the situation's being misrepresented because, you know, if you work your way up the ladder, you actually can make decent money. That the people complaining are pretty much entry-level animators, and, you know, they're just not skilled enough to make more money. That's one complaint from one group of people who actually said that Top Draw does pay pretty well once you work your way up the ladder. But then we had other people coming to us saying that the system is set up in such a way that you never work your way up the ladder, that you're basically stuck at low-paying intern level forever, you know, barring some kind of a miracle. And that a lot of the U.S. animation studios, maybe not the showrunners, but the executives, are keenly aware of the working conditions in these Philippines animation studios, and they just kind of turn a blind eye to it because the work is cheap. And that means that the U.S. studio can pocket more money, you know, off the merchandising rights and off the broadcast rights and all of that, while the people overseas are actually making these shows, doing a lot of the grunt work on the shows for very, very little money. I mean, we're talking as low as $50 a week US, which again does go further overseas than it does here. It goes a lot further overseas than it does here, but it's still not what we would call, you know, a decent living. And unfortunately, this seems to be the consensus among everyone I've talked to, is this seems to be business as usual in the animation industry, the current animation industry right now. And it's been this way for a very long time, that overseas production houses, production studios do the bulk of the work and get paid very, very little compared to their American counterparts, which is why a lot of the animation is actually being outsourced overseas now. I mean, let's be honest, it's never been lucrative to be a grunt animator. The only real money is if you're a showrunner of some kind. or that you create the idea and they license it. Look at Ninja Turtles. It was a comic book, it became an animated series, and the merchandising is where those guys made their money. So, interesting situation though, and this does tie into the fact that it's getting very, very hard to compete with Disney. Now, Disney is one of the few studios that still has its own in-house U.S. Animation team, and same with Pixar. And for these studios to compete, if they're not making the money they need to, they probably are going to have to outsource more and more work. We're going to talk about Dreamworks. I know that Dreamworks was outsourcing a lot of their work to India. I think, if I remember correctly, Puss in Boots was animated almost entirely in India, and I'm sure at a fraction of the cost of what it would cost to animate that movie in Burbank. So we'll go into that here pretty soon. I do want to point out though that since this came out, the controversy about Carmen Sandiego, they're already trying to do damage control. Carmen Sandiego, this is a press release. Carmen Sandiego's latest mission: introducing the world to real kids, creating positive change in their communities, as Netflix gets blasted for essentially using slave labor sweatshops overseas to do their show. So, again, we've had people come to us both sides of it. And the consensus is Top Draw is not a good place to work. I mean, that's the bottom line. But you can make more money than what was being talked about. So before we get into, I guess, the meat of this video, please give a sub to Clownfish TV. I think we're at 64,000 subs. We're hoping for 100,000. If you haven't done so already, there's actually a second channel where we've moved all of the are going to be moving all the art, how to draw videos, and the animation videos, and a lot of the making comics videos over on Clownfish Animation. So give a sub to that channel as well. It's only got, I don't even think it has 2,000 subs yet. We just started it. I'm going to be doing some live streaming this month for Inktober, doing some different doodles. I think last night we drew Papa Smurf as a Super Saiyan. So we don't know what we're going to come up with. But give a sub to that channel as well. Okay, so let's get into this here. This is from Film School Rejects, The Abominable Financial State of Non-Disney Animated Features. Dreamworks Animation just had its worst opening in decades, while Disney continues to increase its share of the theatrical animation market. Abominable actually did okay, and it looks like a really cute movie. I haven't seen it yet, obviously, but it looks cute. It looks a little bit different than a lot of the stuff I've seen from DreamWorks lately. It looks very whimsical. I've heard good things about it, but it did not perform well at the box office because it's not a Disney animated movie. It doesn't have the marketing push that Disney has. So here we go. When you look at the top 10 best openings for animated features, only 6 of them are Disney movies. That's still a majority, but not as much as you'd expect these days. The other 4 are either DreamWorks Animation or Illumination, both of which are now subsidiaries of Universal Pictures. 2 are Shrek sequels from a time when DreamWorks was not part of Universal. One of them is a spin-off Minions. And finally, there's the surprise 2017 blockbuster Secret Life of Pets. Yeah, I never would have pegged Secret Life of Pets as being a blockbuster. Expand the top 20, and we've got another Shrek. We've got another Minions, Despicable Me 2. 2 from Fox, an Ice Age sequel, and the Simpsons movie, both of which are now part of Disney. Yeah. Ice Age was a legit competitor to Disney and Pixar, and now Disney owns Ice Age. Disney owns The Simpsons. I mean, it's taken me a while to wrap my head around Disney owning The Simpsons. I don't know what they're going to do to it. And maybe it's time to pull the plug, but Disney never lets anything die. They'll just reboot it. Clearly, Disney is dominating the animation game, and that's not a shocker. They began as a studio based in animation, gave us the first animated feature 80 years ago. That's true. This is their roots. I mean, this is the one thing. If Disney's going to do one thing, and do one thing well, it would be to I think focus on animation and maybe stop buying up all these other IPs that they clearly don't understand. They don't understand Star Wars. They don't understand the Muppets, but they do understand how to make decent animated movies. But at a time when they're also ruling the live action arena, it'd be nice to see other animation studios competing a little better. There have been periods when Disney wasn't the biggest name in animation. In the 1980s, you had the Care Bears movie beating Disney's The Black Cauldron in An American Tail topping The Great Mouse Detective. I remember this. The 80s were actually not a good time for Disney. Disney was really striking out in the 1980s. And that's when you had, Don Bluth, and you had, Steven Spielberg doing American Tail, and you had a lot of really kind of experimental animation, a lot of like R-rated heavy metal type animation. Of course, we got Rock and Roll out of that, which was a bomb, but I love it. A lot of cool stuff that just doesn't exist. It won't exist today, and that's because Disney was striking out. When DreamWorks arrived in '98, the studio proved to be a big player pretty quickly. The Shrek franchise had the top-selling animated feature domestically in 2000, 2004, and 2007. Even the comparatively disappointing Shrek Forever After was among the top 10 movies of 2010. Are we talking money, or are we talking content? Because Shrek Forever After was much, much better than Shrek 3. Shrek 3 was trash. I did not like Shrek 3 at all. I thought it was unfunny and slow and pointless, and I actually did like Shrek Forever After better, but I think 3 did some damage. Shrek wasn't the only property given Disney a run for the money. DreamWorks Madagascar did well. Fox's Ice Age did well. In the last 11 years, Disney has been mostly on top, although the studio gave up the crown to the Lego Movie and Despicable Me 3. And most of the decade has seen non-Disney animated features joining the Mouse House in their year's top 10s, especially where global box office attendance is concerned. Disney was defeated by other animation studios worldwide in 2008, 2009, 2011, 2012, 2015, and 2017. That won't happen this year thanks to Toy Story and Frozen, plus the live-action style but totally animated Lion King remake, which I still haven't seen. I don't even think I have any interest in seeing it. We'll see Disney dominate stronger than ever. So here are the top 5 animated features by domestic attendance, not box office, but domestic attendance. 2009, 2018. 2009 was Up. 2010, Toy Story 3. 2011, Cars 2. 2012 was Brave, which actually surprises me. 13, the top movie is Frozen. 14, Lego Movie. 2015, Inside Out. 2016, Finding Dory. 2017, Despicable Me. 2018, Incredibles 2. At the moment, there is a showing for non-Disney animation 2019 with the sequels to How to Train Your Dragon and The Secret Life of Pets, but both those and the Lego Movie 2 have all grossed a small fraction of what their predecessors did. That's true. I remember How to Train Your Dragon 2 actually did really well. The Hidden World did not do so hot. Secret Life of Pets 2 did not do so hot. Their share of the domestic animation ticket sales at the moment is just 25%. So basically, Disney takes up 75% of animated movie ticket sales, and the other 25% goes to whatever studios are left. And that's before Frozen 2, which is probably going to dominate. I mean, it is. So nothing else from another studio, despite appealing enough non-sequel contenders like The Addams Family, the Playmobil movie. I haven't even seen a trailer for that. And Spies in Disguise is likely to make a showing in the top 5. If a decent DreamWorks movie like Abominable can't bring all the kids to the theater in its opening weekend, then what non-Disney movie can? They said Abominable looks like a hit, but yeah, it really didn't do that hot. It came in first place in the debut. It gave DreamWorks their worst opening of all time for a computer animated feature, and second worst of all their titles. The Yeti Focus film only sold 2.3 million tickets in North America, which is only better than Sinbad. Sinbad, which was considered a box office bomb. The only other movie that sold fewer tickets than Abominable was Sinbad. The previous worst debut for a computer animated DreamWorks production was Captain Underpants, which drew 8.3 million tickets. Again, I think this is fair. I think ticket sales need to be the new litmus test for success, because the theaters keep jacking their prices, and I think ticket sales, like raw ticket sales, how many people went to go see this movie, that should be the number. But yeah, we're talking Captain Underpants had 3 or 4 times what Abominable did. So maybe it's because there's so much alternative animated fare at home. So this is it right here, and I think it's gotten to a point now where theaters, going to the theater to see a movie, it has to be a big tentpole movie, because people aren't going to the movies casually like they used to, because you can watch a movie in the comfort of your own home on your high-def 4K, 8K TV, surround sound, and not have the noise, the expense, the travel expense, make yourself some microwave popcorn, sit down in front of your 70+ inch, 96-inch TV and watch a movie and have a better viewing experience than you would at the theater. So why are you going to go see some animated movie, you know, if it's not a must-see on the big screen? You're probably not. You're probably going to wait until it comes to home video, and it only takes 3 or 4 months for these things to show up on Blu-ray now. And a lot of the animated content is going to these streaming services. You know, so this does tie in with you know, Netflix and Top Draw, and the fact that most of the animated content is being produced for streaming services now. So maybe at a time when non-Disney sequels are underperforming, a non-Disney original is just never going to be a safe bet. That's true. Abominable might do well in China to recoup its production costs. But as for the future of domestic releases, 2020 brings 2 original Pixar animated features for Disney, and it's hard to guess how well they'll do. Onward is possibly going to be a rare Pixar dud, going by the trailer reactions. It doesn't even look, I'll be honest, it doesn't look like a Pixar movie. To me, it feels more like a Dreamworks movie. Soul should be the next Inside Out. So they also have Raya and the Last Dragon. They have Minions. They are doing a Minions movie, and Trolls World Tour, which I expect to be a surprise box office disappointment, given the kids have tons of Trolls content home with the first movie and 7-season strong animated series. I think that's kind of it too. Because a lot of it, you know, with Dreamworks especially, I think they've watered down their IP. They've created shows of virtually every movie series they have, and I think it's sort of watered down the desire to see a sequel. I mean, why go see How to Train Your Dragon when they have a How to Train Your Dragon TV show? You know, I mean, it's not like you've gone for years without any How to Train Your Dragon. Same with Trolls. You know, it's the same thing. So this is you know, this is really interesting. It's worth watching. Now, Disney already is announcing that they've got you know, 4 more creators on deck to do 4 more movies. I mean, they're going to keep cranking out animated hits. You know, that's what they do now. It will be interesting to see if there's a change with John Lasseter out. But my takeaway from all this, and I think it's starting in animation, is that really the next generation of content, of entertainment, is going to be at home. It's going to be the streaming wars. I mean, Disney's dumping all kinds of money into Marvel and Star Wars shows. Dreamworks seems to be doing better with their properties as TV series than they are as theatrically released movies, and I think that's pretty much going to be the future. I think unless a movie is just absolutely like a big tentpole franchise, most people aren't going to go to the theater, and animation has always been kind of dicey, you know, other than the Pixar movies, other than like Frozen, you know, they're not really packing them in like an Avengers is going to. So and I think that still part of that is the perception that animation is just kiddie fare, and why spend, you know, $50-$60 to take your kids to the theater and have to wrangle them and all that, you know, multiple bathroom breaks and keep them from dumping their sodas and all that, when you could just, you know, $15-$20, buy the code or buy the Blu-ray and park them in front of the big screen TV at home. You know, that's my feeling on it. So this is going to become more important because I think we're going to see more animation designed for streaming services, and that's going to require outsourcing. So we're going to keep an eye on Top Draw. I don't expect things to change, I'm being honest. I really don't. Even with the bad press, I don't expect things to change, because my understanding from multiple people on both sides of it is this is business as usual. This is one of the worst kept secrets in the animation industry, is that the vast majority of animation, at least for television and streaming services, is being done at the expense of working conditions, you know, and as long as people are willing to do it, this is the way things are going to be, unfortunately. So we're going to wrap this one up. Please subscribe to Clownfish TV for more pop culture news, views, and rants, and Clownfish Animation for more drawing videos, art videos, and eventually animated content. So we'll see you guys later. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.